All right, here we go. We got one viewer.
Yep. Your icon's up.
Con is up. um, I think it's a fan, Katie Pearson. Woohoo, go Pearson Racing.
Yeah.
All right, so it is 20 laps with Chris and Jerry. Hold on, there we go. So with the Grand National driver, E85, Justin Pearson. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hey, Justin. Thanks for letting him pose on your Thursday night. We'll jump right in. You know, you drive the E85 Grand National. You made that jump into that right out of karting. And then it took you a little bit in the beginning. You did a little, actually, you jumped into the legend and then into that. But still going from the legend to the Grand National, big leap going past that street stock class. But you've had good success with that. And I know you and your dad have been really tinkering. Same car throughout your career so far in the Grand National?
Yeah, so we just got this is my second year in Grand Nationals now. Last year was more of a, learning. We didn't race every week. And then this year we've basically decided to run for points. And, we knew it would be a stretch kind of, coming into the year. It being my second year and the class has so many people that have been doing it for 10, 15 years. So we knew it would be a little stretch trying to go for the championship this year, but we've been pretty happy with the results we've been able to get in just my second year. So
You talk about that, the Grand National class. That group has been dominated by some names, some Hall of Famers over the years. I mean, Larry Richards coming out of the Grand National class. He steps up and runs with you guys occasionally, but another one that you race with regularly, Roger Lee in the Grand National, a Hall of Famer. Tom Moore, probably a future Hall of Famer. Aaron Strebolo, Todd Asherine. In addition to some really promising drivers that have really kind of stepped out, the Schumacher boys this year have really stepped up their game. They're really getting themselves out there, getting noticed. Colin Sinjalowski, on a given night, he's run well. So it isn't like you're going out there and you're running against a bunch of no-name has-beens. You're running against some of the best Grand National guys in the state every Saturday night.
yeah, it's a pretty stacked class, I'd say. I mean, like I said, everybody else that's in the class has pretty much been doing it for at least 5 or so years. There's just very few rookies every year. There's like I think one or two this year. So I mean, there's not a lot of new people coming into the class. It's all people that have been dominating for years. So you know, it's been definitely a learning curve going from legends to grand nationals, where we were one of the top guys to now we're middle of the pack. Sometimes usually around the top five, but um, just it goes to show that the level of competition is just so much higher in grand nationals. I feel than when we were in legends, I guess.
I guess, hey, talk about, I mean, I've gotten to work with both you and your dad over the years. I mean, I remember as that nice young boy that drove the 80 cart. Um, that was a super clean cut and, moving on through the karting program. But how did you get started in the karting racing? and then jump up into the Grand National or into the Legend and then the Grand National?
Yeah, so I was 11 when I started karting. Me and my dad just went to the Tuesday night karting program one night, and we said, "Hey, this kind of looks like fun." So the next week, we bought a kart and got all set up to go racing. And uh, he's been around racing pretty much all his life, building engines for my grandpa up in the UP and stuff like that. So he's always kind of been around it, and he's the one that introduced me to karting at first, and then we were looking. There's only 2 or 3 carts that came every week my last year, so we were looking to get into Saturday night program where there's a lot more cars, a lot more competition. So we were either looking at getting into street stock or a legend, and we got in touch with Warren Ropp. He's the legend dealer out of Iowa. So we just got in touch with him. He said he had a car that we could test out just to see if it's something I would want to do. Um, so that one Saturday night, he let us go out for hot laps
That
before.
fateful Saturday.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I'll let you tell the story.
all right. So yeah, we went out for hot laps. Looked good. You and Jerry, you and Warren talked and said, we can let them run the heat and start in the back just to get a feel for what it would be like to be in an actual race. So we took the green. I'm starting in the back, just still getting a feel for it, but I pushed it a little too hard going into the first corner.
Oh no.
Couldn't control the car like I thought I could. Uh, Started spinning out, went straight into the wall and flipped the car that we didn't even own yet.
Oh.
Yeah. So
But hey, from that inauspicious start, you turn that into a net positive because you really put your nose to the grindstone. And I really look at both you and your dad together because I know he's so integral to your race program. Um, and you started. It may have been a little bit upside down, but boy, a couple of years later, you really were one of the top runners in the legends, and I believe you achieved some really great things in that legend car.
yeah, so I think about my third year, I started getting really good and running towards the front every week. Still didn't win, a ton. I think I had 4 feature wins my third year. And the fourth year was basically either me or Cody who was winning every week. Cody more than me. And then our
Cody
last year,
Cody Cody Affleback for those
yeah,
that, and he was an earlier guest, now driving the 34 A mod.
yep. And then our fifth year, the roles were kind of reversed. I was winning more than Cody, but it was still usually either me or him that won the feature. And then I also won 2 national championships for the Legends. And my last year, we went out to Baps Speedway, which is in Pennsylvania, for the Dirt National event for Legends, and we were able to win that feature. Best from around the country are going to that race. So it was a good time to get out, I guess. We wanted to go out on top, I guess, from Legends and move into something new, a new challenge.
To that end, I believe both you and your dad are involved in you giving back to the sport. I know I see your dad on Tuesday night helping out in the inspection duties with tech inspection with the carts, and I know when time allows, you've been out there as well. But your dad, you have also had put together a setup manual to share some of the knowledge you guys gained over the years racing legends to pass that down to the other racers at Beaver Dam.
Yeah, so the last 2 years we've done a Legends setup class. We've had people from Pennsylvania, North Dakota, a lot of the local guys from Wisconsin came too, but some from Iowa. I mean, people from all over. Just from our 5 years, we really got to a point where basically any track we showed up to, we were gonna finish top five at least, if not better. But so yeah, we just wanted to pass along what we learned. We tell everyone, there's 100 different ways you can be fast, but this is what we did, and this is how we set up the car, what we did every week, what different adjustments do to the legend, and just try to help everybody get better.
With the Grand National, and we've seen that, from the first when you first got that car, you guys did a little bit of double duty testing. You were still running a Legend. Um, on to last year to your development this year. Your knowledge base with that car is expanding much like it did with the Legend, because that car has a whole lot different character, feel, a lot more horsepower, but also you're on a different tire, a whole different platform, the longer wheelbase. Um, so from a setup and driver perspective, that's got to be a whole new batch of things for you to learn and manage.
Yeah, we've been trying to get the setup figured out all last year and this year. We're still not 100% perfect, especially on dry slick. We still need to work on that setup. But I guess the biggest thing was driving. In a Legend, you make any contact and there's a spin, somebody's flipping. It's not good when Legends make contact. But in these, you can kind of lean up on each other. It's not as catastrophic if you make contact. So for me, just learning that, I can do a little rubbing. You don't want to like hit people on purpose, and I never would, but just if it does happen, it's getting used to running next to people door to door has been something that I've had to learn with.
With the Grand National, your dad's experience building engines, that's had to help you a lot. Being in the V8 with a Legend, the Yamaha motorcycle engine, so much of that was sealed and you had to get from USLC. The Grand National allows you to be a little bit creative. And I know there's some different things going on underneath the hood of that E85 race car. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so my dad's been building engines for 30 years now. Uh, Also, one of our sponsors is Beagie High Performance in Burnett. So, Steve Beagie and my dad have been working on, the next, how can we get even more power out of the next motor that we build, and probably won't be as reliable. But, and like you said, underneath the hood, I think we're the only Grand National that runs E85 fuel. Um, I think there's a couple street stocks that do too, but so it burns cooler, which is a big advantage for us, and we're always looking for that edge on our competitors.
And hence the number on your race car. And I'm going to feed you the line. You're doing that because a sponsorship opportunity availed itself to you.
Yeah, so we're sponsored by UWGP, which is United Wisconsin Grain Producers. So they jumped on and they were going to sponsor us, and then we offered a little bit higher tier package to change our number as well. I used to be number 80 in karting and legends, but um, because of the sponsorship, we changed our number to E85 to kind of promote the alternative fuels and promote grain producers.
Along with them, you've got a number of other sponsors. I mean, that race car always comes to the track looking immaculate, but also people that help you out. Here's your 2 minutes to get some props for them. And I know you got it on the computer. Let's try doing it from memory tonight,
Yeah.
Extemporaneously, Justin.
Yeah, so United Wisconsin Grain Producers is our main sponsor, and then we have Craft Masonry, Bennett's Landscaping, Reed Chrysler in Beaver Dam. We have CNM Advanced Insulation. My grandpa sponsors me, Pearson Excavating, and
Oh, look.
like I said, Beaky, High Performance, and I didn't miss any. So,
There you go.
And crew help?
yeah. So it's usually just me and my dad, but this year we've had one of my dad's friends, Scott Bramer. He's helped us out a lot this year. So it's usually just us three down in the pits.
Support behind the scenes, um, significant other,
Yeah.
mom, come on. I
Yeah,
want to keep you on, that sofa sleeps really well, but
Let's
let's
say.
try and stay on the good side here.
Like,
right.
do not tie your own noose. Please don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so my family's always been very supportive. My wife, Katie, comes to every race. My mother-in-law and my mom and my sister, they're always at every race up in the grandstands cheering us on. So, and they help run the Facebook page that we have and get shirt orders in order and stuff like that. So, we couldn't do it without them too.
Over the winter, I know I was part of the team that worked on the unified Grand National rules, which, yeah, there was a couple of things that changed, but it's got to be from the racer side of things. You got to be one of those that looks and looks at that and says, "Hey, that's a good thing because now I can take my hot rod and on an off night go other places beyond Beaver Dam."
Yeah, for sure. I think it was definitely a good thing. Before I don't think our engine was legal at some other tracks. Under the new unified rules, it is, so we can run anywhere now. Um, we've ran at Plymouth a couple times last year, but we haven't at all this year. And then we went to 141 once this year, which that didn't end well either. Uh, in hot laps, I actually flipped the Grand National too. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Any night when you say flip, if it isn't a burger we're talking about, is
It's never
generally not a good night. I don't care what kind of race car you got.
Yeah, and it was in hot laps. Like it wasn't even a heat race or anything. It was just like the track was super slimy. I was following Jeff Richards. He's usually running up front, so I was figuring I could learn something from him. He got a little high. I hit the wall. I was right behind him. I followed him and hit the wall, just at a different angle, I guess, and I flipped. Uh, Nobody seems to remember that he hit the wall. It's just me
Just for the
after.
record, and so everybody understands, how much does Hot Laps pay?
yeah,
Zero.
zero.
Yeah.
I see some of the guys out there when we do get cars out for Hot Laps. Man, they race it like we're paying big money on Hot Laps, but
Yeah.
okay. Um,
But everybody kept telling me that's a good sign because I flipped a legend the first night, and look how that turned
well,
out. So they're like, oh, this is gonna turn out the same way.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember. Did you ever flip your go kart? You got to stay
No,
consistent.
I got stuffed into the inside guardrail once, but didn't flip.
And you didn't put it in the pond.
No.
Um, Obviously, great success with the Grand National. Your second year in. Um, where do you see yourself going? 2 years, 5 years. Obviously, you've got married. You're doing some things that a young man does. But where do the goals and aspirations? Where do you see yourself going in a couple years?
We talked about probably running Grand Nationals for a while yet, probably until we get to the point where we were at, Legend, winning a lot, majority of the time. That it'll probably be a lot harder and take a lot longer in the Grand National than it did in the Legend, but eventually, my dream is a dirt late model.
Very cool. And not to squash your dream, but I'd love to see you just hang out in that Grand National and be an enigma like some of those guys we talked about earlier that spend their whole career there and truly Hall of Fame type careers. Racing the Grand National, it's such a good class, not only good looking but great competition.
Mhm.
Um, Tell me about time away from the racetrack, or tell the audience about time away from the racetrack. What do you do when you're not being Justin Pearson, driver of the E85 Grand National? Are you what fuels your passion?
Well, right now I'm down in Platteville, going to school for mechanical engineering at UW Platteville. So this is my last semester. I'll be graduating. Then we hope to move back around the up towards Beaver Dam area, and like you said, my dad helps with carts on Tuesday nights. I would like to help more with the Tuesday night program, but just with being 2 hours away, I haven't been able to the last couple of years.
I can fit you up for a pink hat some night, give you a microphone. You want to give that a shot.
Yeah, I remember the one time that you wanted me to be the announcer, and I don't think I was very good at that, but
It's an acquired taste. I'll share with that with you.
yeah.
Um, you've taken well to the dirt. You've been not afraid to travel. You did so with the legend. Is that something you enjoy doing, or are you just happy being racing on Saturday night, being home, and getting up in your own bed on Sunday morning?
With the legends, I think that I really enjoyed the traveling. For nationals, especially going to North Dakota, Pennsylvania, it was cool to see the sights out there and see what their tracks are like. That the local guys usually don't get to go to. But yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot.
Well, we'll throw another curveball at you, because Chris is probably going to wave that pink flag at me shortly. All right, as a young lad growing up, who was your racing hero, and who was your racing your mentor, your go-to? Dang it, this thing doesn't work. I need to call somebody, guy, for your current. And who was your hero growing up?
Growing up, I always enjoyed watching Tony Stewart. He was my, you know, probably wasn't the greatest role model sometimes, but he's somebody I enjoyed watch growing up, and it was cool to, Nelson Stewart drives legends, so it was cool to meet him after the fact that I grew up watching Tony. And then Saturday nights, the go-to guy for us is Tommy Moore. He's helped us a lot. Our first year, especially, just giving us a base setup to go off of, and then this year we've talked to him many times about, you know, dry slick setups. It's something we've struggled with. So he's always more than willing to help and offer me driving tips, and he's just been a great help for us.
Yeah, Tom Moore won a multi-time track champion at Beaver Dam. He's the next one of those young drivers that, even at still a young man, uh, really, at some point he's going to be looked upon as the Hall of Fame candidate. Is that something you would aspire to be one of the, some 20 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everybody would probably dream of being in some Hall of Fame at some point. So, um, I mean, I would definitely love to, 20 years, build my legacy, and it would be a great place to be.
You talked about how you made the switch to the E85 number. I'm going to pick on Chris's question. Um, you ran 80 through your legend and through your karting. Why the 80?
So my favorite football player was Donald Driver for the Packers. So when I was in football, I picked number 80 to be my number, and then I just carried that over to racing. So
The Obviously you talked about your down at Platteville in school. What's your dream job when you get out of school?
I guess I don't really have one. I'm pretty open. I always tell people to wherever life brings me is it's good with me. But like I said, I would prefer to either live around home or just I don't really have a dream job, I guess.
Chris, any openings at Mercury?
Yeah, I think there are.
Mechanic, mechanical engineer?
Yeah.
No, I think there are. I think I did see something. I know it's engineer. I'm not quite sure. Like it's in Florida. Are there racetracks in Florida?
There are.
I'm sure. But so for one comment to that 20 years, still going, Pearson Racing, which I'm guessing we know who that might be, says he hasn't agreed to 20 more years of racing.
Yeah, I need to renew my contract, I guess.
Need to work on that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Peggy Sue Clark is proud of you and loves your background. I'm guessing she might be responsible for something that's hanging in the corner there.
Yeah, that's my aunt. She does wood burning and stuff, so she made me this wood burning with everything that I've raced so far. It was a gift from my wife, so
Um, so odd, Andrea Pearson is saying that you forgot somebody. I don't want to say the name because I'll slaughter it. In your crew starts with an A, Ayla.
Ayla.
There you go.
Yeah,
You
that's my
didn't give
little
a shout out
niece.
to her.
Ah, sorry. Yeah, that's my bad.
Um, that's about all the comments on there. And Jerry stole every single one of my questions. I was all set with some of them, and he took them. But
Well, here's one that you were thinking of. I just know it was on the tip of your tongue. You know, you
yes,
came out of that legend class and you raced with a lot of past national champions in the Wisconsin Dirt Legend Series. You were integral and part of that for so many years. Coming out of that, who was the best in the legends that you ran with?
Definitely Cody Applebeck. Yeah, like I said, it was usually either me or him that was winning, but some of the other guys, Mike Miller, he was always up there. And just watching some of the younger guys in the class now, like Eric Bloomer and some of those guys, it's just cool to see the next generation of amazing legend racers that, you know, they've come to our class and just, they always ask us questions at the track and, we're more than willing to help them. And it's just cool to see them grow in the sport as well.
One common denominator. I look at that and I'm always and I'm partial to it because I'm involved with the karting program. But I looked at your experience coming out of karts, but you alluded to an Eric Bloomer, but also pick on a couple other ones that came out of the karting program. Ryan Keene, another aspiring young fast legend driver. Tristan Furseth, you know, another legend driver who has moved on. Joe Bongiorno, track champion as well. Those guys all have that same common background that share with you, karting at the tip of their career to get them started. How do you feel that's helped you? Is it just the work ethic, or is it truly the car control?
I think it's just a good baseline to build your understanding of what racing is, what it's all about. And like you said, what goes into it every week, all the time that you have to put into it, that work ethic definitely helps build um, your racing program and what all goes into it. You can't just sit there and not touch the card every during the week and hope that you'll find some speed somewhere. You have to actually work at it and look things over, think about stuff. How can I make myself faster for next week?
So you're
So
telling me they don't get faster all by themselves, right?
yeah, I mean, some people believe they do, but I don't think that's how it works.
I think You got it right on the head. What else you got for our guest tonight, Chris?
Well, you asked that question about the biggest competitor right when Cody Appleback joined, because he just said your favorite person to race against. So that's kind of funny. Pearson Racing mentioned James Fletcher. He came out of the karting program as well, didn't he?
He did as well, James, one of our aspiring young street stock racers. Elijah Koenig,
Yeah.
another one. For those who have to be old enough, the Berkovich family was involved in the karting program as well. Brendan Ostrowski in the sport mod. So many of those drivers like Justin got their start in karting. And I think he's got it right on the head. It teaches you the work ethic that goes into it. And that karting program is leading to a lot of great young racers like Justin Pearson.
Pearson Racing also says races are won in the shop. Just throwing that out there. So, but I know last year when you were trying to do double duty, you'd come in and doing the check-in and I'd say, so we do them both, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, and said it was just really hard to switch from one to the other in the night.
Yeah,
but
they're just so different. It was hard for me to get in the mindset, and the features were one after the other, so I didn't have any time to sit there and actually think about how I'm gonna change what I'm doing. It's just one to the other. You got to go. It's kind of
so
hectic.
does that mean that if the opportunity came up to sub for a legend driver, then you wouldn't jump at that, or would you get back in a car?
No, I definitely do it just because now I have more experience, so I can kind of get my head in the right space to go from one to the other. Where before it was my first and second time ever in a Grand National, so it was just hard to wrap my head around going from one to the other. But now I think I can do it pretty easily.
Yeah, we always joke when you come in for check-in that your first year, even when Legends, my first year, you were just known as Black Shirt because I didn't know your name. You didn't really say anything to me, and that's just how I associated you. But last year, you really started when we talk about the different ones. It was like, oh, so this is a whole different person. I'm meeting Justin Pearson.
You got to remember when I started, I was 11, and I pretty much wore the same shirt
Yeah,
until
it was.
it didn't fit me anymore. So
um, Katie Pearson wants to know what is your favorite race you've ever ran?
my favorite race is probably the Dirt Nationals out in Pennsylvania. Um,
Or the feature that you won before you proposed?
that one too. Yes, that was
There
a
you
great
go.
one as well. I mean,
Just
yeah, they're pretty
keep think,
even.
you got to keep thinking there, Justin.
Yeah.
Sofa, sofa thing, back in your mind.
I was like,
Yeah,
think about who's asking
I
this
was.
question.
Yeah, I know. She always wants me to relate it back to her.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I mean that night was amazing. And then also the night after we got married, we rented the pavilion, and
Yes.
had all of our family from both sides there, and I was able to win on, I think it was a last lap pass, so make it exciting for everyone. That was just awesome to have all the family there cheering me
Yeah, she said that was a trick question and you failed.
on. Yeah, I'm sure I'll hear about it later.
Yeah. You better go fluff your pillow now. Anyway, um, that's about all of them, all the questions that are popping up. And it's been about 25 laps, but that's okay. It was fun. I don't know. Do you have anything else, Jerry?
Nope. Look forward. Hopefully, Mother Nature cooperates, and we'll get to see you in the Hot Roddy 85 on Saturday to wrap up the 2020 season. And best to you and your family.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for joining us. Hopefully see you Saturday.
Yep.